This book, guys, The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. This was one of the more fun books that I've read in quite a while now. Like, it was really refreshing to read. If you are at all interested in parallel universes, in steampunk, in fae, and people that can turn into dragons, and mechanical centipedes, and werewolves, and vampires, and spies that are librarians, then you're probably going to be interested in this book, because it has got all of that. But wait, there's more. There's also mind-controlled crocodiles and gargoyles. Now, if these things have not excited you, I'm just going to jump right into what this book is about, and maybe that will excite you more. So this book is about an invisible library. I mean, I guess it's invisible. It's a library that's in, like, a whole different realm of its own, and there's people called librarians that work in this library. I believe that's what they're called in this world as well. But these librarians are much different. These are like undercover spy librarians. So these spy librarians, their goal is to go to parallel worlds and collect pieces of fiction that are rare and bring them back to the library to protect them. Not only is that their job, but their job is also to advance the language. And the language is this kind of magic system that they have where they speak this language that allows them to command things what to do. So basically, they can command things to do something in their natural order. I'll give an example. This isn't really a spoiler because it's at like the very beginning of the book, but basically there's this flying gargoyle chasing Irene. Irene is the main character, by the way. I haven't mentioned that yet. Irene is the main librarian character, but there's this gargoyle chasing her, and she commands the gargoyle to turn to stone, or to be stone, and basically just drops out of the sky, because that's what the language allows them to do. It's kind of finicky because you have to be very specific with your wording, and I think for the most part you can only command things to do something that they naturally can do. So I mean, it's basically like naming in the Kingkiller Chronicles. Also, these librarians that have the ability to use the language, they have to get this tattoo down their spine that has like, I believe it has like their name that is given to them when they join the library. Anyway, this is a lot to take in at once, but there's these parallel worlds, and basically the worlds go from like unchaotic to chaotic, and the chaotic worlds are worlds that are controlled by fae, and basically there's just chaos in those worlds. There's all these things popping out of nowhere. There's vampires and werewolves and just weird magical things going on that aren't supposed to be going on. And then there's the more unchaotic worlds that are just normal and they're more balanced. And these unchaotic worlds are balanced by the works of the librarians, but also by dragons. And dragons basically bring justice to the world. If there's a really chaotic world, then dragons will show up to basically put them into submission. I'll be honest, it doesn't really tell you what the dragons do, but somehow they bring justice to these worlds. So that's it for that, but let's jump back to the main storyline. So Irene is a librarian, and she gets teamed up with Kai, who is a rookie boy, he's a rookie man. She gets teamed up with a rookie named Kai, and their mission is to go to this very dangerous world to obtain this copy of Grimm's fairy tales that has like an extra story in it. But this is a fairly chaotic world. There's fae that kind of rule society here, and the fae are very selfish. They kind of put on a character, and once they have that character, they try to be as dramatic as they can with that character because that enhances their magical abilities. So they're kind of like psychotic. But there's other things going on in this world. There's also werewolves and vampires, and it's just a general dangerous place to be. Now, when Irene and Kai come to this parallel world, of course they end up in London, because London is the best place to have a steampunk Sherlock-type mystery novel. I mean, you can't argue with that. So that's about as far as I'm going to get into the storyline, because I don't want to spoil anything. As you guys probably know by now, I like to keep my reviews spoiler-free. This book kind of drops a lot of information on you at once. For me, I never really found it overwhelming, but I can tell, like, if you're not used to reading fantasy, then this might be kind of a lot to deal with at once. So really, the only other downside that I can complain about is that there's a few parts in the book where I don't feel like the author's imagination keeps up with her writing. I think I'm going to have to give a specific example here because it's kind of hard to explain, but this isn't really a spoiler because you're not going to know where this takes place. But there's a part in the book where a fae uses their ability to like warp people's perception of reality. That's kind of the magic they have. They can make you hallucinate pretty much. This fae makes Irene hallucinate, and basically she sees like the world melting around her, and then this like mouth appears at her feet. But then the author just kind of like forgets about that. I'm really trying to find a good way to describe this, but it feels like sometimes the author isn't consistent with her imagery. This actually happens a few times in the book when magic is involved. I just feel like I can't picture what's going on that well, but I'd probably say that only happened maybe like 3 times in the book, so it's not a huge deal, but it still was a little bit confusing. So yeah, that is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. I personally really enjoyed it. I have heard some mixed things, so if you've read this book, I would like to hear your opinion. Feel free to tell me down below. But yeah, I hope some of you guys will give this book a chance. I actually just started reading the second book today, so hopefully I'll have a review up for this shortly as well. But anyway, if you did like this review, please give it a like and subscribe. It will mean a lot to me, and I guess you guys will see me in my next video.